Hey everybody, Silverbird here. So, I want to talk about what's driving me to move out of Florida. What's driving me to leave Florida? And Florida was always, when I came here, it was kind of cool. Yeah, cool. I get to live in Florida. I was 20 years old. But I think my big mistake in Florida was I didn't get out when I should have. Because what happened was, I was kind of came down here with family. It was never really a place for me. And a lot of my challenges throughout life are extremely emotional based, meaning that there are constant problems with heartbreak, especially. And for some reason, that seems to be my big one, my big challenge, always going through stuff like that. As I'm getting ready to leave Florida, I'm really reflecting on everything. But what happened was when I was 20 years old, I had a bit of a break. And it really defined me. I held on to it so tight. I held on to the pain. The pain drove me forward. It made me angry. It made me full of hate. But the pain drove me forward. And I kept using the pain to try and push more doors open. And the pain kept repeating itself. And a lesson often will repeat itself over and over. And it kept repeating. The last one I had was a couple months ago. Um, this is why this is why I'm not going back to Summerland. This is why I skipped out on Yule Fest, and this is why I'm not going to Invoke for Summerland. And for those of you that know me, Summerland is my home. It's wonderful people. It's the most amazing people you will find. Unfortunately, I had a short breakup, I guess you'll call it. Um, with somebody that I was very slowly dating that vends at Summerlin and other festivals. And see, it's once that happened, I realized I couldn't go back to Summerland after that because I didn't want to bring that kind of bad energy back to the festival, which I would have done. I'd be very welcome in Summerland, but to bring that kind of negativity would never be a positive thing, I don't think. So that was a big part of it. So that's kind of why I've actually ignored Summerland now, and I've stayed distant from festivals. I've had opportunities, and I've really stayed distant. I've had opportunities to go as a vendor since I'm vending as a tarot reader, but I don't want to create a rift of bad energy either, if that makes any sense. It's kind of funny though when you actually think about it, because I kept ignoring the signs to get out of Florida. There were some positive experiences. See, there's always a place that we're supposed to go to. And we've got to take the risk sometimes, like I'm doing, traveling in my van to go to a new place, a new adventure. But I've been in stagnation, resisting it. And what happened was things slowly kept falling apart. Doors weren't opening. I kept losing ground. I kept losing ground. Eventually, I didn't really make any friends after a while. Um, I moved out to Washington for a while, had a blast, loved it, and then came back for some odd reason. And then when I came back, you know, there's no growth here for me. And Florida's a beautiful state. I've said before that I don't like Florida. I had somebody in front of me because I said I hope Florida gets wiped off the map. Of course, I didn't mean that literally. And that was years ago. I'm over it. But it was like, really. But of course, Florida's a beautiful state. It just wasn't the right place for me. And what happened with the Summerland incident, the one good thing, and we didn't even, like, I never actually hanged out with this person at Summerland. It was just that this person will be going to Summerland. And that was just kind of where I want to back off. I don't want to bring that bad energy in because, I'm pretty much over it. Really, I am. It's just, I realized that it was time to go after that because that was kind of like my home, and that was the last thing I had. And once I realized I couldn't go back there, well, I have no home anymore. I realized I couldn't go back to Summerland now. which was a really kind of screwed up thing, and it was just like the one festival I go to, why did I have to? And it was funny because I didn't even meet the person anywhere near Summerland. It happens to be somebody that. But that was kind of the huge breaker. But it's not a bad thing because it helped me to move forward. It helped me to realize that it's time to travel like I've always dreamed. And that's so I guess the question is, do I have a grudge against Florida? Because that's something I think about, and I'm sure as I get more following, I'm gonna get asked that. What do I think of my experience in Florida? I'll admit I do have a little grudge against it, and it's not because of that one experience, but it's a combination of constant experiences that have really put a bad rap on the state for me. I probably won't ever come back to Florida. I've actually had a lot of pain in the state. And part of my problem is letting go. And they always say, well, you gotta let go. And my question is, how do you let go? And I think this trip is going to really do that. This trip is going to help me to let go of a lot of pain I've been carrying for a long time. And this doesn't go back to one person at all. This goes back to the beginning. This actually goes back to a little before Florida. I had a couple situations, but it wasn't as bad. It didn't really start turning to hell until I got into the state of Florida. And so, yeah, I think that this is going to be I'm going to rush out of Florida. That is a fact. The sooner I get out of the state, the better I'm gonna feel, and it's nothing against Floridians. It's a beautiful state. I spent the last 5 years of my life here. Okay. Um, but it just wasn't for me. So I'm headed to California, and I'm really hoping to find myself. I'm hoping to find more positive memories because I don't really, I have a lot of positive events throughout my life actually. Just most of them aren't from Florida. And that's the thing. It was like, well, and it was just because I was never really supposed to be in Florida. I always knew that I had a bad feeling about coming to Florida in the first place when I went with family. I always knew that this would not be a good place of growth. And the longer I stay, the more pain there is, and it's just time for me to leave. So Florida's a beautiful place, but not the place for me. I'm headed to California, and I think that's it, everybody. Blessed be.